Hey everyone, it's 10 types, and baby Pokemon in the Pokemon TCG are a really interesting mechanic that I've talked about in the past. I've talked about how they're kind of cool, but ultimately end up coming short. And while I don't play too much Pokemon TCG Pocket, and I know a lot of my viewers play it, I'd say some, but aren't like huge fans of it either, more so fans of the regular Pokemon TCG. The baby mechanic in Pokemon TCG Pocket actually, I think, did a lot of things right that the regular Pokemon TCG version of it failed to do. And again, I like the regular Pokemon HG a lot. I like Pocket some. It's fine enough, but it's not really my thing. But I think these cards would actually be better than the regular baby Pokemon in the regular Pokemon TCG and Standard. And I've talked about the regular babies in the Pokemon TCG a bunch. I made a whole video and I've talked about Badoo a lot as well. In general, they're pretty badly balanced. I mean, Badoo is super good, completely item locking your opponent for free for one turn. I'll say what the babies do as well. They all have free attacks here. They have 30 HP, free retreat, and they're also all basic Pokemon. We've had the baby Pokemon as a different mechanic that's like changed throughout the Pokemon TCG. It's been really messy, honestly. Some of them have been super good. Some of them have been pretty bad. Again, they've all changed. And the one I'm talking about today is just the one in Standard here. But as I said, Badoo's like by far the best one here in terms of ones that see competitive play. I know that Cleffa has seen a bunch of play here as a very strong draw card, or as like a moderately strong draw card. I recently got a comment about, or I made a post about multi-prize rule box Pokemon, and actually tell me if you want a full video on that as well. People really enjoyed that post, but ultimately someone was like, oh, Rotom V is a cool card, and it is drawing you cards and ending your turn. Well, Cleffa has an attack, so obviously when you attack, it ends your turn, and it draws you cards. It's a somewhat similar card here, not the same, but ultimately Cleffa is a good card that's seen a good chunk of play. This might look like a ton of play, and I mean it's quite a bunch of play. I'd say Cleffa's like balanced, but then Badoo here, it's seen a lot more play than Cleffa. So yeah, Badoo's been kind of broken. I've certainly heard people say a Badoo should be banned. That's like occasional. Sometimes people kind of over exaggerate with that, but Badoo's like good and interesting. I guess I don't really know if it's interesting, but it's something. And then Cleffa I'd say is also kind of interesting. The other ones that have apparently seen play are what is this? Get this out of here. Is Elekid here? Elekid is like okay as a snipe Pokemon, obviously free, doing 30 damage here. Mantike is a healing Pokemon. I've not actually seen anyone play this. Apparently, it's been played in like some stall decks. And then Ethan's Pichu. Oh, also Mantike, like it doesn't heal that much. It heals 120, which is like okay for free. I guess it's really good, but healing attacks are just like essentially never good. And then Ethan's Pichu here. I have seen this card see play a little bit. Apparently, it's been played in Charizard and some other things. I think it's like a kind of counter to Badoo or something. I don't know. If anyone has more details on this card as to why it's seen a good chunk of play, tell me down below in the comments. It'll kind of like one shot some stuff, but it seems a little niche. But you do 30 and you draw a card. Also, it isn't Ethan's Pokemon. I don't think that really has to do with it. Yeah, you could search it with Ethan's Typhlosion, but that's not super useful because or sorry, not Ethan's stuff, Ethan's Adventure, which you can get with Ethan's Quilava, but that seems like really niche. But the main ones that I've seen play obviously are Badoo, and then Cleffa has seen play as well. Then the rest have been all been kind of bad. Also, I thought they were discontinued after Badoo. I thought that's what was going to happen, but that didn't happen. We got two random trainers Pokemon that are baby Pokemon, and then we got Tyrogue in the Mega era. So I have no idea if these cards are still coming out. I actually don't know what all the Megas are, but also Cleffa's gotten two cards, so they could like redo certain babies as well. And then also, this was the first time we saw some of these babies in a while. Like I know Bonsly and Mantike. Not that the cards are super good. A lot of them do very small amounts of damage as well. There is Smoochum, which accelerates, but it's pretty mediocre here. But I don't hate it. I haven't really seen Smoochum see play, but I think it's okay here. It's kind of like TM Turbo Energize, but it's obviously a little different. It's on the Pokemon itself. It's free, but it has low HP here. Ultimately, you need these cards to have some level of actual power because they only have 30 HP. 30 HP is super low. You can get knocked out by like Munkidori or Dragapult. Multiple of them can get knocked out by Dragapult. It's not like this is happening all the time. So I got a comment on a video. It's like, Munkidori just gives you a free knockout on Badoo, which isn't really true because it's not free. They need to attach an energy, and they also need damage counters on their board. But you certainly are vulnerable to that at times. And so that's why Badoo is so good. Badoo's attack is absurdly good comparing it to other item lock Pokemon that have been dominant, like say Seismitoad EX here. Seismitoad EX is a card that is an all-time great card, and it item locks for 2 colorless. I'll just say it's 1 to be like generous. It used let's see. Yeah, I used double colorless energy here. I was looking for a standard list, but that's fine. And then you'd attach it, then you do 30 and item lock. It's a basic, it has more HP, which is like useful, I guess, but ultimately Badoo has a lot of upsides over Seismitoad EX. It does less damage, it has less HP, and it also has I think those are the two downsides. I'm trying to think if there's another one. But it's cheaper. It has free retreat. It gives up 1 prize. So, they're somewhat comparable. And Seismitoad DX is super good. So Badoo is like a glass cannon type of card. Not a cannon as in it's doing a ton of damage, but it can in terms of the fact that it has a really strong attack. And so again, it's kind of broken there. Oh, that's attack. Again, Cleffa's balanced. The rest are kind of bad. One funny one is Mime Jr. though, which I want to know. Tell me down below in the comments if anyone has played with this card and used it and actually gotten like actual value, or if you played it and it's been terrible because you copy one of your opponent's Pokemon's attacks, but your opponent chooses the attack that you're using, which is funny, but like really bad because most decks have bad attacks, like Badoo. Badoo's actually not a bad attack, obviously, but like um some random basic, right? Like a Dreepy or something is gonna be pretty horrendous, just doing like 10. But regardless, they're okay. There's a wide-ish variety of babies. Just want to familiarize you with them if you had forgotten or aren't familiar with them. But then looking at Pokemon TCG Pocket, I will say, so there's Mantike, Magby, and Pichu here. They are all kind of the same. Again, oh, these don't have a weakness. Okay, apparently they don't have a weakness. I forgot about that. It doesn't matter too much. I will say 30 HP. It's the same amount as in the regular Pokemon TCG. However, the Pokemon TCG Pocket damage numbers are lower, so like theoretically they're more tanky, and doing damage is still like kind of more meaningful in Pocket. Like 10 damage is more in Pocket than 10 damage is in the regular TCG. Ultimately, how much does it matter? I'm not entirely sure. I think they're a similar power level. But anyways, Pichu here, as well as Magby and Mantike accelerate a lightning energy or an energy of their type from the energy zone, which is essentially from deck. It's not quite the same, but pretty similar, and attaches it to one of your bench basic Pokemon. And this is pretty similar to Smoochum, and I like this design. Smoochum is on Psychic. Not that Psychic is bad, it's certainly good, but ultimately a card like Smoochum isn't really what you're looking for. But, setup attacks are decent. We certainly see TM Evolution see play, among other setup attacks a little bit, kind of like Joltik, right? Joltik sees play. And having an attacker like this, I mean, you could put this Pichu in a Joltik box. Tell me down below in the comments, is it like silly to put something like this in Joltik box? I'm thinking you could because what if you can't hit the turn when Joltik? Pichu is at least something. I don't know, it's a lot weaker. I'm not saying these cards are super good. In Pocket, they're pretty cool though. But I really, really like this design being pretty versatile. You can put it in any deck, but you can also put it in a specific type of deck, so you have more reason to play it. Versus, a lot of these baby Pokemon are very, very mediocre. Not that there's not reason to play Smoochum, but it's only in one type of deck there. So now you have the different options for the different types of decks, which is kind of cool here. Then we have Elekid. Elekid's the same in Pocket as it is in the regular TCG. Well, it's not the same. It's pretty much the same 20 snipe to the bench as well. So it is weaker. Elekid's 30 to anything. I do actually like Elekid. It's seen some play, but it is pretty niche here. Then we look at Azurill, which is healing, just like the Mantike in the regular TCG there. Igglybuff, though, I do actually like Igglybuff a little bit here. For free, you do 10 and then put your points active to sleep, like Bonsly, which is Confusion. Again, it's a little more meaningful here, but, I'm not a huge fan of it. I also like Confusion a little more than Sleep. But then some really interesting ones here are actually the other ones. So Cleffa here is kind of cool, getting a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. It's a setup attack. Random search isn't a thing in the regular TCG. It's a pocket-only thing, but ultimately, it's another setup attack, which is cool. Having a fun setup Pokemon. I think this Cleffa, if it was search for a Pokemon put into your hand, would fit very well into the regular TCG and potentially see some play. Again, I'm not looking for these cards to be super broken. I don't think any of them would be, but I think it could be playable and pretty fun. Ultimately, having a free attack and free retreat means you can get in and out of the active spot really easily. Obviously, out because you have free retreat, but getting in, turn one, you can attach your energy active retreat if you can do that. As in you have the energy, you have a 1 retreat cost, but if you're able to do that, then you can attack with the free attack Pokemon, which wouldn't happen with a setup Pokemon like, as I mentioned, Joltik or I don't know. I don't know what other setup Pokemon are played outside of Joltik. I might be forgetting something, but I don't think I am. I think setup Pokemon just aren't really played that much. Because you need to commit a little bit to them, and these you don't need to commit to. Then there's also Smoochum here. Smoochum's pretty interesting, which says it does 20 energy, or sorry, 20 damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active. This isn't super strong, but it is doing some damage here, and it can do decent damage. And along the same lines, Tyrogue does 20 for free here. Obviously, 20 is not that much. I'd probably increase this to 30, but no, I'd probably increase this to like 40 or 50. I don't know. But ultimately, Ethan's Pichu does a little bit of damage and draws your card. But I think, Pokemon TCG Pocket does things very simply. And I think a simple baby here would actually work really well. A lot of them are a little bit complicated. For example, Magby does 60, but it does it like delayed. It's kind of wacky. And or like it does. It's like it gives itself Rocky Helmet of like 60 or something, and then you have Elekid, which does Snipe, which is like cool, but you don't need Snipe. Then you got this Tyrogue as well, which I really don't like this Tyrogue compared to Pokemon TCG Pocket. The one in the regular TCG is a coin flip attack, flip a coin until you get tails. And one of the biggest complaints about Pokemon TCG Pocket is the fact that it has all these coin flips versus these consistent cards. And Tyrogue here is a card from the regular TCG that is exactly what people complain about in Pocket. The Tyrogue in Pocket's an interesting card, allowing you to go for some fast damage. It does actually allow you to attack turn 1, which you can't do in the regular TCG. If you could do this turn 1 in the regular TCG, that would be really problematic because Premium Power Pro. But anyways, I think it is a decently fun, decently fair card here. Obviously, kind of weak. I mean, it's objectively worse than Ethan's Pichu. I think Ethan's Pichu does an okay roll, but again, if there was a like free attacker that did like 50 or 60, it would be a little more interesting. Just as a decent attacking option, kind of like Hop's Kermer that we see with the Hop's Choice Band, which is free with that tool attached, where it's doing a good chunk of damage, but that's free, but on certain turns, and requires, I guess, a little more setup as well, needing that tool there. And then Smoochum, again, can get big to punish certain plays, but it's not like super big. It's just swinging for what's the most, like 80 against like Iron Hands, which obviously is like super bad as well. You don't want to be swinging into Iron Hands EX with Smoochum, most likely there, but you'll be swinging 40 or 60, which is more than the basics. Baby Pokemon in Standard, which again have very simple damage, most of them doing like 30, 10. Tyrogue could be doing, I think it's averaging 40, but it's really like doing 10 half the time, right? Half the time, the most common outcome is going to be 10. So, yeah, Tyrogue not reliable here. Overall, I just really like what Pocket does with babies. I think a general Pocket's design has gotten better, and I think babies are a prime example of it. But tell me down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on this topic. Am I underrating the card design of babies in Standard, or do you think it could be better? Also, do you think they're going to come back with more baby Pokemon in their regular TCG? I have no idea. I thought they weren't, but they've just kept coming out with them. But they came out with a lot at the beginning, and then kind of like have stopped. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe. That really helps out support me in the channel. But I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.